Morning guys, good morning. So back again with another video. So obviously it's quiet time for us here in Dubai. Gym's very quiet, it's going on 6:10. I've just finished my warm-up. I've got to ask a pretty good question from Australia this week, and I had a video sent to me by a friend asking me to sort of coach and critique his form on his squat. Okay, so if you don't know, Sydney's in a bit of a lockdown again. Things are going sort of backwards back in Australia, so shout out to everyone back home. I hope you're keeping that mental game strong and doing what you need to get through this lockdown, etc. And come out the other side firing. So anyway, so I was sent a video to critique the form on his squat, etc., etc. So look, any training is great, especially in times of like mental toughness. It's only going to help that mental battle if you're going and doing some sort of training at home, out the back. That's a good thing. So, but you want to keep it safe, and you want to keep relatively good form so you don't injure yourself. There's no point injuring yourself, pushing yourself back 4 or 5 weeks waiting for an injury to heal, right? So we're going to go through squat form today, and just like little tips and techniques that I give my clients and when I'm coaching, just to keep things safe, to minimize injury, right? So we'll go through a few things where basically people have a bit of trouble, hip mobility, ankle mobility, and stuff like that, right? So let's get through it and take these factors into account when you're squatting. I think pretty much, look, I'll put a number on it, 80% of people would have poor flexibility, poor ankle mobility, tight lower back, tight hamstrings. That's if you're not training, and even if you are training, you're probably not stretching, etc. You're not doing those 1%ers. So take these things into account. Maybe start squatting like this, and then you can progress as you get more confident and get better. Okay, so let's go through the first thing. Yep. Right, so first thing is feet placement or foot placement. Okay, foot placement in terms of how wide, how narrow, etc. Okay, and then we're going to go into ankle mobility. Why do people's knees concave in or their hips concave in when they are trying to squat? So a lot of people don't notice this because you can't really see it in yourself. It's something that a coach will pick up, or you can see when someone is squatting, their ankles are elevating off the floor, they're squatting more off their toes, etc. So let's go through that, let's fix that, and follow it, get it right, and don't injure yourself. Right, as you saw, I gave a little bit of demonstration on what it usually looks like people squatting for the first time, or sort of inexperience will lead to squatting like that. So basically the stance is too square, okay? They start pushing their knees over the toes, all right? Not squatting through the heel, and basically knees concaving in, right? So add weight, add a bar to that, and things get a little bit hairy, right? So we're gonna fix that. 2 simple things, and I'll show you what to do. Okay, let's go. Right guys, first setup was easy. So I grabbed a plate. Why did I grab a plate? We're going to elevate our heels. A lot of people have poor ankle mobility, right? So they can't really stretch their Achilles too far, and when they do, it stops at a certain point, meaning they have to lean forward, push more off their toes, right? So you become very quad dominant. No good, okay, when we're squatting, no good at all. So elevate the heels. You've got no choice but to push through the heel on the squat.
Got that body.
Right, so going through those variations, so I saw the adjustments, I showed you the adjustments. First adjustment was of the penguin feet on an elevation, okay? So that will force your knees to push out. So I guess there's a lot of different ways or coaching cues or coaching tips how to squat. I'm just giving you my opinion on the best way and probably the safest way we teach our members. But yeah, we want to push the knees out, okay? And then obviously pushing through the heels when you're on the plate, there's no other option for you to just push through those heels to drive that squat up, okay? Now, the second adjustment I made, you saw me walk over to the bar, the 45 tilt, okay? So it's a small tilt through the hinge of the hip, okay? Sorry, losing focus. It's a small tilt through the hinge of the hip, okay? So we hinge forward just a tad, chest exposed and up, okay? And then we start the motion of the squat. And you notice as I come back up, I don't fully lock out. I never lock out on my squat at the top because, you know, when you start adapting some weight, that can get dangerous, okay? You don't want to hyperextend or anything like that. So 45 or a tilt shift through the pelvis, okay, through the hips, and then start the squat. So everything is pushing out, driving through the heels, hit the bottom of the squat, and then drive up. Now let's talk about the second thing or the third thing when we're squatting is a tight bar, tight back. I always say this. When you see people squat, you see their grip, elbows loosen up, and that can have a massive effect at the bottom of that squat. If that bar is loose, you're going to do some damage to your lower back. Definitely trying to push that up. You could probably pull your hip out. You know, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So tight bar, tight back, very, very, very key when they're squatting. So remember guys, also, you don't need to squat heavy. If you are not confident on the bar, right, you can just use the bar. You can slow down your reps, like the eccentric phase can be a 3 second down, 3 second up, whatever. That's gonna get those legs working. You don't need to be loading weight. So until you're confident enough and you're getting clean reps, don't even worry about weight. Learn on the bar, okay? 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up, 12 reps of those, you're cooked, okay? So get there. So let's get to that tight bar, tight back, and I'll show you what I'm talking about there. Right, so having that tight bar, tight back as you saw, you're controlling the bar through the whole rep. Going down, control, everything's nice and tight, your torso's tight, your core's tight. This forces everything just to remain rigid. That's the best way to squat. You want to become just rigid through the core because core adaptation is the biggest thing on a squat. You can't breathe out at the bottom, otherwise your core's going to collapse, the whole bloody weight will fold over you, on you, okay? So you need to be careful there. Now, big deep breath, holding your breath and squatting and driving out through that phase and breathing out at the top. That's how we want to squat, okay? Big lungful, hold everything tight, drive down, drive up, get aggressive on it, and then fold up, okay? Rack that bar, complete the rep, and we're good. Right, let's go through some phases. I'm gonna start some strength, so I'm gonna add some weight, and just have a look. We'll go through the motion, see how I set things up, and then, yeah, we'll talk about it. Right guys, so I just finished my sets. Only got up to 140 today, a bit fatigued, end of the week, but as you can see, I kept my form. Form is the most important thing to me. Without form, you're hitting the wrong intended muscle groups, etc. So you want to keep it pretty, you know, tight with your form. Now, as you can see, I keep a tight lower back, tight upper back, bars tight. You know, I don't try to dip and bounce out of the bottom when I hit the squat. Okay, you don't want to do that. You don't want to bounce out of your squat. You want to push. So you're using your glutes, your hamstrings, quads. You know, when you do it precisely like that, you're going to absolutely smash the lower body, right? So in a good way, that is. So take some of these tips, use them, stay safe, get your squat up, and if you want, you know, I always warm up, and I've got other tutorials and other videos on this page and on YouTube, is that always warm up the hamstrings and glutes. Before I even walked over to this bar, I had done 3 sets of hamstring curls, 3 sets of banded walks, sumo walks with the resistance bands, and hip glute flexors, so loaded as well on the hip glute machine. So I always do that before I come over to the squat. I get them nice and warm, especially this time of the morning. You don't want to be getting out of the car and coming onto the squat rack. You're just going to damage yourself. So you know, one thing to take out of all of this, weight training is so good for you and can be beneficial, but at the same time, if you don't do it right, it can destroy you. If it doesn't destroy you now when you're younger, it'll catch up to you when you're older, you know what I mean? So just do the things the right way. Again, loading too much weight, no point unless you can lift it properly. Keep things safe in the gym, and yeah, hope this gets you through your squat. Peace.